Wait, this is the wrong intro that I'm playing. Play a different one. Much better. Welcome to WYCD Wicked. My name is Jake. And today we're going over fact checks. We recently talked to, I'll tell you who the we is in a second, but I recently talked to some folks who were into conspiracy theories around COVID. We're still dealing with that. And I gotta tell you, these folks weren't selling anything. They seem to be, as far as I can tell, sincere believers. Good. Because they think they're helping people, which means they want to help people, which means we can work with them. Now we just got to get on the same page about what will help people. Great. The person who pointed them out to me is our own Donald James X, and he's here today. Hey, Donald, how are you?
What's up, Jake? What's up?
Oh, not too much. Just I thought I'd give him a quick overview about both of us chatting with this group. My understanding is you just came across him on YouTube. Is that accurate?
No, how I came across Indy is Indy is a mod at another channel that I go to frequently. In fact, I was just coming from there. It's a music channel. He's a guitar player. He was a touring guitar player. He's got these mods, and Indy was one of them. And she posts my channel over there all the time. She posts a link for my channel over there all the time. And I followed her, and she posted her link, to her channel. And I saw her live a couple of times, and I peeped in, to kind of get the feel of how it was going on, what they were talking about, how it was. Because at the channel where she's a mod at and where I go, it's mostly music, and nobody really talks politics there. In fact, Rick has a policy of not to talk politics at his stream. Okay. And so I kind of figured that. But when Indy went live, and I peeped in a few times, I noticed that she was talking politics in a sense, you know.
Mm.
So yeah, that's when I went and grabbed you. I said, Jake, come check this out. You got to check this
Yeah.
out.
Well, what I liked about these folks is that they, at least from what I saw, they weren't trying to sell anything. They weren't trying. I don't even think I didn't get the impression they were trying to get famous. They seemed to have sincere concerns. I disagree about what those concerns ought to be, but the sincerity is what made me think, okay, well, we can actually, there's a conversation to be had here, even if we don't end up agreeing. So thank you for finding them. And also worth pointing out, both you and I joined their stream and had a discussion about vaccinations. My impressions were that they believe basically everything that are, popular vaccine theories, that it was a bioweapon, the initial disease, and that the vaccines are secretly hurting you as opposed to helping. And they sent along. You were kind enough to stay in touch with them. They sent along some information, and today my hope is we go over that information. I haven't seen it yet. We go over it and understand where these factions in America are forming. Which one of us is wrong? It might be us, and also, why are we getting misled?
Yeah, I mean, I did when she sent me some of her examples for her to make her claim. Um, I just did a quick a quick search about some of a creator, like some of the creators of some of those
Yeah.
videos, and one was from a guy named Wiki Willis, and I looked him up, and he is a filmmaker that did a 3-part series in a documentary called The Plandemic.
Okay.
And I never, and I just, the first thing that popped up right when I searched was he was discredited. He was representing a doctor, another person that got discredited right off the bat. But Indy is telling me, well, maybe you're being misled. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
all right.
And we can only go so far with saying no, you are, so I'm glad we're taking it on ourselves to look at some of this stuff. Here's the first link you sent, or they sent you, and you passed along to me. This is from,
I didn't.
yeah,
look
it
over
is a
that one.
government website. So this is from the National Library of Medicine, and the title of the article is a mask that covers the mouth and nose free from undesirable side effects in everyday use and free of potential hazards. So now when you sent it, you called it the ineffectiveness of mask wearing. Was that them telling you that's what this article is about, or was that your interpretation?
That was my interpretation when I just I didn't read the whole thing. I just kind of like quick read it, and
Yeah.
I was trying, and you could skip to the whatever subheadings are there on the side, right? And I just wanted to know the conclusions and what did they find, right? And basically, yeah, it was about masks, how there was some proof that masks can be detrimental in some ways.
Sure.
And
so the difference I would say is ineffectiveness refers to, like, does it stop disease, basically, but that doesn't really matter. And you bring up a good point. Let's just jump down to it. Let's see here. Results. Well, that'll be good. A total of 65 scientific papers on masks qualified for a purely content-based evaluation. There are 14 reviews and 2 meta-analysis. I don't know what a meta-analysis is. Of the mathematically evaluable, groundbreaking 44. Oh my gosh, this is none of this stuff. Sorry. Significant negative mask effects. 22 were published and blah 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 blah. Okay, so none of this makes any sense to me. When I'm highlighting it just doesn't. I mean, I could read the words. I don't really understand what all this is saying. I'll read it for people who don't, so people don't have to blow their screens up. But just for the record, I don't know what any of these numbers or letters refer to in the brackets. Of the mathematically evaluable, groundbreaking 44 papers with significant negative mask effects, bunch of numbers and letters, 22 were published in 2020. That's 50%. And 22 were published before the COVID-19 pandemic. Of these 44 publications, 31 were of so 70% were of experimental nature, and the remainder were observational studies. Most of the publications in question were English, and 98%, and 30 papers referred to surgical masks, 30 publications to N95 masks, and only 10 studies pertain to fabric masks. Okay. Conclusions. Despite the differences in the primary studies, we were able to demonstrate. Also, we have to see who in the government was doing this study, but regardless, despite the differences between the primary studies, we were able to demonstrate a statistically significant correlation in the quantitative analysis between, oh my God, between the negative side effects of blood oxygen depletion and fatigue in mask wearers with P equals 0. So here's the deal. I know enough to know that P equals roughly refers to the number of times it happens. I have no idea what that number is supposed to tell me. And I do think that, I think if we were to ask the people that put this study together, they would say, well, this is the version that's been made for the public. We did dumb it down. And I think there should be a secondary version. There should be a version where you're not expected to know arcane symbols like an italicized P. I don't know. What do you think so far? I haven't got much.
Well, that's why I was just trying to skip to the conclusions and the final, the overall summary of it at the very end, where it says, it says conclusions, or you know what I mean? Click on conclusions.
All right. Jumping down.
And
all right.
And stuff like that. But so that's the thing. I mean, they want, people, when people usually give you information, they expect you to do a thorough research. They expect you to listen to like a 2-hour-long video.
Yeah.
To watch a 2-hour-long video. They expect you to do those. But all I did was just quick Google search. That's it. Boom, boom,
yeah.
Just to get quick facts. That's it. But they say, oh, well, I went to Wikipedia. India said, well, Wikipedia is proven to be, not reliable. I was like, okay. So I just, and then she said, don't trust Google search either. I'm like, damn, you're really narrowing it down. And I was like, oh, well, okay. So I just AI it, right? I just AI'd it, and it gives you the same information the same way. Just quick.
Yeah. So wait, you point out something good. They hand you essentially like 9 hours of homework to do to agree with their point. And the hope, I think, the actual strategy of somebody who is recruiting in this manner, recruiting to an ideology, is that the person won't actually sift through 9 hours of this stuff. What will actually happen is they will get to this part that I'm going to bring back up just to make a point. We will go down to conclusions in a moment. But they'll get to this part like I did and just make the assumption, all these complicated things must mean what the person was telling me. Otherwise, why would they show me this? And not unlike the Nigerian scam emails where there's intentional misspellings so that they sift out the people who will immediately turn away, which I think is the equivalent of the people who will immediately go to Snopes or Google search or whatever. I think what they're hoping will happen is that you'll just assume that that you've seen evidence so that you can later turn around and be one of those people that said, no, I've looked at the data and it's right. The masks are killing you and the yada yada. That's what I think is happening. And for progressives, by the way, if there are progressives listening, take note of that. Don't be that, because that only exists, I think, because it's a dark parody of what we do. We know that the data will eventually take you to the conclusion that we arrive at, or so we think. That's what we're operating under. The assumption, and with good reason, usually, because most of us have arrived here by tediously looking at data. It's just that is a laziness on our part that is being taken advantage of by people with bad intentions. Although I want to be clear, I don't think the person we talk to does have bad intentions. I just think it's part of the culture now to assign.
I don't think Indy has any bad intentions at all. She said that she was a public teacher.
Yeah.
She said she was a public teacher, and so I think she's got a lot of credibility. I don't think she's coming from a bad place at all. But her panel was different, though. I mean, some people on her panel, but they're all characters, anyways, right? One guy sounded like, I wanted to ask him if he was some kind of a doctor or something, because he seemed like he had some kind of, he started talking like he had some kind of knowledge or something, you know. But when you got somebody named Tiger, and I had somebody come onto the panel after you left, and her name was Conspiracy Queen. And I was like, okay, well, that tells me like
all right. So you have a bias. You're assuming, yeah. I mean, I'm hitting it right on the nose, but yeah, you make a good point. They're not. First of all, no group is a monolith. No group is all the same. But specifically, that Indy person seemed like a good egg, like they had good intentions. And I'll be honest, even the people who seemed like colorful characters, I went too early to this thing. Even the people that seemed like characters to me did not seem like they were coming from a bad place. And I have to, and hey, let me clarify. Earlier I said progressives do the same thing, but we're right and other people are wrong. I don't know that. I just don't know that. I assume that. But I should be clear. Let's look at the conclusions. You asked me to in the beginning. It's time. By God, let's do it. On the one hand, the advocacy of an extended mask requirement remains predominantly theoretical and can only be sustained with individual case reports, plausibility arguments based on model calculations, and promising in vitro laboratory results. I don't know what that sentence means. Let me try it again. On the one hand, the advocacy of an extended mask requirement remains predominantly theoretical. So they're saying an extended mask requirement is only theoretical. So all of this is just in case such a thing comes to pass, I guess. Moreover, recent studies on SARS-CoV-2 show both significantly lower infectivity and significantly lower case mortality than previously assumed. And it could be calculated that the median correct infection fatality rate was 10% in locations with lower than average global 19 mortality rate. In early October 2020, the WHO asked the WHO also publicly announced that projections show COVID-19 to be fatal for approximately 0.14% of those who become ill, compared to 10% for influenza. Again, a figure far lower than expected. So they're saying, on the one hand, wearing masks for an extended period of time might not even be recommended. On the other hand, the side effects of masks are clinically relevant if we're talking about an extended uh, uh, a case where we wear them for a long time. In our work, we focused exclusively on the undesirable and negative side effects that can be produced by masks. So this is very important. Going back up, at the time this study came out, and I'm getting the sense from what we're reading that it came out during the pandemic or shortly after what we consider to be the pandemic. But they are saying after this point, we're only going to talk about the bad things about masks. And it is important to note that if you get COVID because you were not wearing a mask, or if you give someone else COVID because you were not wearing a mask, there is about a 1 in 1,000 chance that person will die. So, however, whatever the negative side effects are from mask wearing, you have to compare it to the 1 in 1,000 chance, which is not too low of a chance when we're talking about lives, that you'll kill somebody by not wearing a mask. I think that's a huge thing to note. Okay, so valid significant evidence of combined mask-related changes were objectified, bunch of numbers I don't understand, and we found a clustered and common occurrence of the different adverse effects within respective studies with significantly measured effects. Okay, so when they say they found a clustered and common occurrence, they're saying they did find a negative thing, a common negative thing amongst studies where any negative thing was found. So when they found stuff that was negative, they found similar negative things, which just says it's likely caused by the thing that was being studied, masks. We were able to demonstrate a statistically significant correlation of the observed adverse effects of hypoxia and the symptom of fatigue. P is less than 0.05. All right, this P thing's coming up so much I have to see it. What does P...
We got to find out what this asterisk is.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just share this tab for a second. According to Google and statistics, the p-value is the probability of obtaining test results at least as extreme as the observed result under the assumption that the null hypothesis is true. The fuck is the null hypothesis? It quantifies the strength of evidence against the null hypothesis.
I don't know. I guess maybe somebody in the chat can tell us. I don't know.
Maybe. I think I get it though. And the reason I wanted to read this in the way we're doing it is because this is how regular people come across it. Most people don't have A, all this time, but B, they're not scientists. So yeah, we could have read this thing before the show and noted all the things we don't know, but that wouldn't be very good information for us. This genuinely is. So P is basically percentage here. A low P value, according to this, let me pull it back up. A low P value indicates that the data are very incompatible with the... What is a null hypothesis in statistics? In statistics, the null hypothesis is a default assumption that there is no significant effect, no difference. Okay, so that if you're studying a plank of wood, the null hypothesis is the odds are that it's just a plank of wood as opposed to a secretly hidden bear or some such thing. Got it. So it is just percentages, basically, that we're looking at, if I understand this correctly. So when they say we were able to demonstrate blah, 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 hypoxia and the symptom of fatigue with the p-value being less than 0.05%.
Okay, that seems kind of small Is
Yeah.
that small? I don't know if what that quantifies. I mean, I
Well,
assume
yeah,
that's small.
it is. It's of the people they studied, 5% of 1%, so 0.05%, had were shortness of breath, basically. The symptom of fatigue and hypoxia. 5% of 1% suffered shortness of breath, whereas of the people at the time that were getting measured for that strain of COVID-19, 14% of 1% died. So asking people to risk a 5% of 1% chance that they feel fatigue to prevent a 14% of 1% chance of spreading a disease that kills someone, or of killing somebody by spreading the disease. That's what's being risked. I think even if it was 1,000 times greater, if it was 5%, not 5% of 1%, but a full-on 5% chance that you get fatigued when you wear a mask, against even a 14% of 1% chance of killing someone, making them never take another breath again because you didn't want to feel fatigue. No, I think that's strong evidence for wearing a mask. Go ahead.
No, I keep repeating that over and over again. I even though I didn't know what all that meant, but I just kept saying, look, the risk, the benefits outweigh the risk. I mean, there should be no refuting that. But
well, I see how it's happening though. What's happening is people are scanning this and they're seeing, okay, look, there's a very small chance of dying from COVID, which is true. You have, about a 1 in 1,000 chance of dying from COVID. And then they look at this and they think there is some chance, and I don't understand what all of this means, but it says that there's some chance that I could get this scary thing called hypoxia. And the symptom of fatigue, oh my gosh, what's happening? And they allow their minds, I think. And by the way, if you guys are watching this in the replay, folks I've been disagreeing with, correct me here, but be brutally honest, because I think this is what's happening. I think you read this and you said, this must be one of those things that kills us. But you didn't stop to see the odds that this will kill you, or really reckon with the fact that hypoxia and the symptom of fatigue is literally just trouble breathing because there's a mask on your face. All right, moving on, because let's rip through this whole conclusion, because there might be, that's just the first thing.
Hey Jake, when I leave my mic on, is the background noise loud to you?
Not really. I don't really pick it up. I think you're good.
All right. Okay.
Our review of the literature shows that both healthy and sick people can experience mask-induced exhaustion syndrome. I would love to look up what that is. I assume it's just tired from wearing a mask. But you know what? I am going to look that up. I don't want to assume. Here's my Google results. Here's a .gov site.
Basically, it sounds like to me that some people find it too inconvenient or something. It sounds like that's kind of the argument. It's too inconvenient.
It's inconvenient. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. Oh shoot. Sorry, I got to save that again. I'm gonna rapid fire read off the rest of the stuff, and anything now that I feel like I get a sense of what we're seeing. I'm going to just specifically look for anything that I think pokes holes in my view of this. Because right now, I'm of the same belief that, this is not, it's the same thing. It's just an inconvenience people are looking for an excuse not to participate in. But that is wrong.
Or they think masks are too inconvenient for the weighing the risk, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm in agreement, but maybe there is something here that will make me say, wait, masks actually do have a significant danger that's worth considering. Our review of the literature shows both healthy and sick people can experience mask-induced exhaustion syndrome, very strange, with typical changes and symptoms that are often observed in combination. Here we go, such as uh, an increase in breathing dead space volume. Don't know what that is. Increase in breathing resistance. Okay, harder to draw breath. Increase in blood carbon dioxide. Makes sense. Decrease in blood oxygen saturation. Saturation. Sure, makes sense. Increase heart rate. Yep, if you have less oxygen in your blood, you will be pumping more blood to get oxygen to your body. Increase in blood pressure. Yep. If your heart is pumping faster, you will have more blood pressure. Decrease in pulmonary capacity. Same thing. Increase in respiratory rate. Same thing. Shortness of breath. Same thing. This is all fine. And difficulty breathing. Yep. Headache. All symptoms of the same thing. You're trying to breathe through a mask and it's not working very well. Dizziness, yep, same thing. Feeling hot and clammy, same thing. Decreased ability to concentrate, same thing. Decreased ability to think, same thing. Drowsiness, same thing. Decrease in empathy perception. Interesting. I don't know what that means. Impaired skin barrier function. Sweating, I suppose. With itching, acne, skin lesions, and irritation, overall perceived fatigue and exhaustion. So basically, a bunch of stuff having to do with shortness of breath. And I would argue, perhaps, particularly in a group of people that have been primed to think mask wearing is dangerous, you could be looking at a panic attack. You've been told you have to wear this mask, and you don't want to wear the mask, and you kick and what have you, and you find yourself wearing the mask, and it gets to you.
That's a claim. But
yeah, I mean, I'm just putting it out there that all the things they're describing here are shortness of breath and things that come with it. And even if it's only happening because the person's panicking about wearing a mask, it is still happening because they're wearing a mask. It doesn't change anything. It's just perhaps worth pointing out that it might not be the fact that this thing that surgeons wear for 18-hour surgeries is not a dangerous piece of equipment. We not only found evidence in this reviewed mask literature of potential long-term effects, now that's interesting, but also the evidence of an increase in direct short-term effects with increased mask wearing time in terms of cumulative effects for carbon dioxide retention, interesting, drowsiness, headache, feeling of exhaustion, skin irritation, and microbiological contamination. Oh, germ colonization. I don't. That's very strange to me. And I want to point out, this is a gov.
Go ahead. I guess reference frame in the chat had an explanation on the value of P, I guess.
Oh, thank God.
And I copied it, but I don't know where to paste it for you if you wanted to read it, or if you just want to go back in the chat and read it.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
You want a small p value. It means the p for probability. The probability of the result you have is due to chance. So a p.05 means, okay, great. That makes this make so much more sense. And I'm more confident in what I'm reading. Means that there's a less than 0.05% chance that the signal is noise. Means it's statistically inconsequential. Where is the reference frame? They might have said something earlier. Okay, so let me read that back with my newly educated brain. So we understand. We were able to demonstrate a statistically significant correlation between the observed adverse effects of hypoxia and the symptom of fatigue, with a probability, the low probability that it's wrong in the quantitative evaluation of the primary studies. Okay, good. So it does not tell us how bad all that stuff is. I still maintain, like, it doesn't tell us what I thought at first, which is that it was the chance of it happening. It's the chance that their conclusion is wrong that we're seeing. Good. But it's still the same thing as before. There is a 14, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance of dying from COVID against the possibility that you will be one of the people that experiences fatigue while wearing a mask. Okay, but now let's see what all this other stuff is. Where are they actually seeing harm from masks, and what are they describing? As somebody who's attended many a Halloween, I find that difficult to buy into, but it's a government study, so it has more credibility. We not only found, all right, in literature, I'm looking for the studies, though. Overall, the exact frequency of the described symptom constellation, MIES, in the mask-using populace remains unclear and cannot be estimated due to insufficient data. Okay, well, okay. So,
Okay, well, I
yeah.
Okay. Here's another thing too. When Indy gave me some of these pieces, some of these links and posts, I would have liked. I should have asked her what specific claim was she making for each piece.
I would be fascinated. Yeah, I would. Perhaps we should do something in the future where we invite them on to explain to us what it is they're seeing with this stuff. So, yeah, but I do think we're at sort of the crux of it here, because they say overall the exact frequency of this symptom with the trouble breathing while wearing a mask, essentially, remains unclear and cannot be estimated due to insufficient data. So we're weighing trouble breathing and potential long-term effects from trouble breathing versus dying from COVID or potential long-term effects of having had COVID. And we don't know how frequently the trouble breathing happens, and we can't know how frequently, apparently. And we do know how frequently the COVID deaths happen. To me, it's the same conclusion reached again. Your trouble breathing is not worth my aunt's life.
Yeah. Does this study have a timestamp on it? I mean, when?
I'm sure. I'm going to make a prediction that it was during.
Oh, it says right there. Yeah.
Yeah. April 2020, 21. Maybe still during the pandemic. We're still in it, but
an updated version of this probably would be more useful.
Definitely. Let me look at their materials and methods, because they made reference to a lot of written material, and I find it interesting that they haven't at this point done an actual study where they had people in a room wearing masks and measuring their blood. Materials and methods, this is how they got their data. The objective was to search for documented adverse effects and risks of different type of mouth-nose covering masks. I hope they went to a lot of professionals that wear masks. Of interest here were, on the one hand, ready-made and self-manufactured fabric masks, including so-called community masks, and on the other hand, medical, surgical, and N95 masks. Okay. Our approach of limiting the focus to negative effects seems surprising at first glance. However, such an approach helps to provide, concerning typo, us with more information. This methodology is in line with the strategy of Villalonga Olives and Kawachi, who conducted a review exclusively on the negative effects. For an analysis of the literature, we defined the risk of mouth-nose protection as the description of symptoms or the negative effects of masks, reviews and expert presentations from which no measure values could be extracted, but which clearly present the research situation and describe negative effects, also the full criterion. This is disturbing, if I'm honest. What they are saying, and hey, if you understand statistics or studies or anything like that, to feel free to chime in the comments. But what I'm seeing here is that they looked at other people's anecdotes, I guess. What were the actual materials? The objective was to search for documented where adverse effects of different types of masks. All right, let's see if we. All right. Records identified through database searching. Additional records, other sources. Records after duplicates removed. Records screen excluded. It's not clear. Oh, never mind. Here we go. After excluding 1,113 papers that were irrelevant to the research question and did not meet the criteria. So they were going through research papers. Okay. A total of 109 relevant publications were found for evaluation in the context of our scoping review. 65 relevant publications concerning masks were considered being within the scope of the context-related evaluations. These included 14 reviews, 44 presentations of negative effects from the years 2004 to 2020, 31 were, oh my gosh. So, since the findings from the topics presented for the discussion were to an unexpected degree subject-related, we decided to divide the results according to the fields of medicine. Of course, there are overlaps between respective fields, which we point out in detail. All right, so after I think we can say we gave this paper a good, thorough look. Have you come up with any conclusions about anything here?
No, I mean, I skipped straight to the conclusions.
That's what I would have done.
You know what I mean? And to be honest, Jake, I still couldn't find a conclusion of exactly what they were saying. Maybe it's because I didn't read it right. That's why I'm reading it here with you, going back again.
We're not scientists. This is not our profession. That's understandable. I feel the same way.
But my quick take is, I'm sure that there's probably certain kinds of masks that's probably a little bit more detrimental than some other types of masks. I don't know. You could be allergic to some. You could be, who knows? You could have breathing. I can see some people actually having a doctor's permission not to wear masks. I can see that in some situations because there could be a reason for that. You have breathing difficulties, just for example. I can see that happening. I can see that. But as far as it being a widespread consensus that masks wearing masks, the risk of wearing a mask is higher than the risk of getting sick from COVID. That part is so hard to believe that. I just, that's the first thing that comes into my head.
I mean, I would say I'm feeling the same. And side note, if any of the folks that we talked to before care to watch this, first of all, thank you. Second of all, tell us how we got it wrong if you feel that we did, because I'm with Donald James here. I'm of the belief that looking at this, there's nothing that says that you shouldn't wear a mask if you're sick. I mean, the advice of scientists and doctors was and remains, if you're sick with a respiratory illness, wear a mask, and it's to stop you from harming others. And you're going to have to brave the results of this paper, which say apparently they looked at a bunch of papers written over the last 20 years and took only the negative results of mask wearing and piled it all together and came up with the conclusion that there is a chance, although they don't know how great of a chance, that you will have respiratory problems if you wear a
Right.
mask for an extended period of time.
Right.
Those respiratory problems do not seem to be fatal, whereas there's a 1 in 1,000 chance that a COVID infection is fatal. And that chance depends a lot on your overall health. So the defenseless need your protection. I basically, my conclusion, having read that information, is that yes, you should wear a mask if you're sick. The exact conclusion that was recommended to us during the pandemic. Tell me what we're seeing wrong here, though. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
that's the thing is Ninja Kate just he was pointing out, I don't think they weren't advocating against masks.
No.
Not at all. But that's why I'm kind of curious to what her claim was for presenting to me this piece. You know, because I don't know what the point was, and that's why I don't know what her exact claims are for each individual point she's trying to make.
Well, look, I'm there. I'm right there with you. I'm not sure why she sent us that. She's clearly seeing something different there than we are. And her name was Indy. Did you say?
Yeah.
Indy, I invite you.
I don't know
You
her
can
real
come on
name.
here. Whatever. Yeah. But I invite you to either come on here or make your own video responding to this one, and I'll respond to that one. I would love to understand what we're seeing differently with this study. But let's look at the next one. And we don't even have to go through all of these. Let's just look at another one, and maybe there's something there that will change my mind. Or it's a video. Yeah. Oh boy, a documentary. That's right.
Is that the Wiki Willis one?
It is.
Okay, Wiki Willis. I think I have heard of this guy in the past. He is
Mickey
a filmmaker.
Willis.
What was it? What is it?
Mickey, like the mouse.
Mickey? Oh, did I say?
Yeah.
Mickey? Okay. Wiki. Wait. Well, anyway, yeah. Anyways, I didn't even know who he was, but now that I think about it, I do remember him in the past. He is a documentary filmmaker, and he came out with a series, a documentary called Plandemic, and so when I DM'd Indy and I said, look, I looked up his name real quick, and the first thing that comes up is that he's discredited on Wikipedia. And then she says, well, don't trust Wikipedia. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just, and she says basically don't trust any information. I don't know.
None that disagrees with the thing I'm saying. Yeah, fair enough.
You know, it's just
tell you what.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. After you, please.
No, I was just gonna say that she wants me to do all this work that, like, watch this 2-hour video, read this long piece, right? But all I have to do to rebut her in the snap of a finger is do a quick search. You know what I mean? And so it's like, why do you want what you expect me to do all this work? Okay, I understand that you can't be gullible about information that's put right in your face. You know what I mean? You got to think for yourself a little bit and stuff like that. And I get that. But then I looked up Mickey Willis, and then in his documentaries, he keeps referring to this doctor named I forget her name, Jennifer, or I don't know what her name was, but I did a quick search on her too, and she was a discredited scientist. That's the first thing that comes up on her. No credentials, no nothing. Just boom, she was discredited. You know, so it's like that's the first thing I looked up, and you want me to take like.
So to be incredibly, you know what? Let's not watch the other videos yet because I'd like those to be separate streams in case it gets taken down. I want to increase the likelihood that Indy will see this stream and respond to it because I think that's where the value is.
I could,
and I also think. What now?
I could. Well, now that I think about it, I probably should have invited her, but I don't want her to think that we're doing this, you know, without her input, without her input. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm glad that she's not here for this first one because I want to look at it just you. Like I wanted to look at that as just you and me. So there's no pressure. We didn't feel we had to make an argument or this or that. We're just trying to sincerely look at it. And also, you know, scoff in the way that we would normally scoff amongst ourselves. Let me issue something as a bit of a correction to myself as well here. The other side does ask all the time for us to do like a bunch of research into very specifically the things they say are right and to ignore one kind of research we can do, which is the very quick Googling. But we do the same thing to a degree. We have some expectation that people are going to look things up and verify them because we don't provide all the time the proof of the things that we are saying. And perhaps that needs to change, or perhaps everybody just needs to be better at discerning what is true and not. But it's worth pointing out that if you take away the end result where you arrive at a conclusion, our patterns of communicating with each other are basically the same, but just one is built on, at least one is built on lies, maybe both. Maybe it turns out masks do kill you, but it's only because they're all secretly cursed and there's a demon. I don't know. But what I was saying with the videos, there's a chance. I don't know what these are not people I would normally play, so there's a chance that I'd get a copyright strike that would take down this whole thing. And
I don't think about that. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't until just now either. But we have a really good chunk that I'm hoping Indy looks at in this first part of the video, and for the second part, I want us to ask basically follow-up questions to a hypothetical Indy who's watching. But I'm not making fun of them. I don't even. This is one person who I would say more. I'm just more confident that I am not that they're sincere in their beliefs. So I welcome them and greet them warmly as a fellow person who's trying to make sense of all of this. But I have to be honest with them as well, because I'm not trying to trick them onto my side. I don't see what they see. I don't know why they would have showed us this this paper because. Well, I just wanted to say there's like I was mentioning this earlier. But yeah, there was like, it seems that a lot of what was happening, like when I was talking about panic attacks with wearing the masks. Yeah. If there's something on
Narwhal caught that. Narwhal caught that. He caught that.
Apparently so. If there's something on
we
your
didn't
face,
catch it. See, that's what I mean. We all got to read it together because it could be something I overlooked. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm telling you is I did see it earlier, or at least not a specific sentence, but from context, I could tell that all the things they were saying, they were not saying that the mask caused a physical change necessarily, but simply there were these things reported, and they all included things that you could also find under the headline of panic attack. And that's not making fun of anybody. If you're told to wear a mask, and you cannot take it off. Like, say, you're visiting somebody in a hospital. The year's 2007. You're visiting somebody in an infectious disease ward. For everybody's safety, including your own, you have to wear a mask. But it's been an hour, and you know you're not allowed to take it off. Yeah, you might start breathing a lot, and you might start pawing at it and then leave it alone and pawing at it, and eventually you get bacteria. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
You can arrive at the correct conclusion that sometimes mask wearing results in X, Y, or Z, but have an incorrect idea of what actually about wearing the mask caused that. Good eyes, narwhal by nature.
Yeah, I guess reference frame wants a link. Can you post a link to that study in the chat for him?
Great, yeah.
Hey, the more people helping out, the better, man.
Honestly, yes. And by the way, gang, if you see something in here that you think is a really good case against what I've been saying, tell me. You're not helping me by letting me stay ignorant. And even if it goes against what you believe, tell me anyway. Because I not only do I want to address it, I would prefer to have it addressed by the time Indy sees this video so we don't waste their time.
Right. So
holy crap.
You know,
everything we've been talking about is irrelevant. This is the only thing that matters. Cheap views are available on Streamboo.
Streamboo Hub.
Oh, well. We made it. I'm sorry. You go on.
No, but so it's like, I don't know. I mean, they expect us to have an open mind. We expect them to have an open mind. It might be kind of a lot of friction there. It might be hard to come to that conclusion, you know, stuff like that. That's why I was really trying to come to a middle ground with them before I came off the panel. I was like, okay, I agree that nobody should be forced to be taking the vax. But when I said that, they said, yeah, but we're coerced, we're forced to, or else we'll lose our job, or else we'll do this, we'll do that, right? And so I'm like, you know, and then Tiger was trying to make a point, you know, why you know, why keep us away from you? Why boycott us and fire us for, and not, you know, why do we have to be incorporated into you guys, you know? And so I was trying to think about it. I was like, okay, because I was trying to make the point, you know, private institutions, establishments have the right to not have you in their venue if you're not masked. It's a private institution, you know? And so they agree with that. But Tiger was trying to tell me, yeah, but why you guys don't want us around you? You guys should feel like the safe ones, and we are the ones that should be feeling vulnerable. Why you guys are afraid of us? That was Tiger's point. And so what I was trying to say, so I was trying to, well, the main reason, Tiger, is because if I find out you're not vaccinated, I could get you sick. I could get you sick, and I don't want to live with the fact that I could have gotten somebody really sick, you know, got to the point, you know. But other than that, I came to an agreement. I was like, yeah, I actually don't care if you're unvaxxed or not. You can be around me all you want. That's your risk, not mine. You know.
So I have I go a little different, but I'm proud of you for conceding part of that even if it's just what you felt in the moment. I think that is the only way we're going to make any progress. Basically, if we stop being dicks and we stop just trying to win every conversation, there's no point. So I congratulate you for the way you handled yourself just broadly in that conversation and there specifically. But I do have a different opinion, and my opinion with why it's important for them to get vaxxed, why I care that they're getting vaxxed. I want to start by saying where I agree with you for sure. I don't want on my conscience the idea that I got somebody sick and then they died. So just as on a personal note, that makes me uncomfortable, but I wouldn't ask somebody to change their life for my comfort. It goes further though. If I got them sick, they don't just become sick. They then spread that disease to others. And in a pandemic, we're talking about overall working together to reduce the spread as much as possible.
Right.
So when we
right.
have a chunk, 40% of the population that refuses to do the thing that slows the disease most, we basically are guaranteed that we're going to be soaking in this disease. It's going to be passed around that 40% of the population at a minimum. It's still going to jump to the vaccinated periodically because any vaccine is not total immunity. It just raises your immunity way, way, way up. But the disease could still get a critical hit, if you will.
Yeah, and if I can make a side note about that, the
Sure.
reason why it's good to stop it, to even stop spreading it amongst the vaccinated, because if it jumps around too much from immune system to immune system, it could mutate.
Absolutely. It could become something that the vaccine no longer works against. So yes, that as well. And that's a hell of a good reason, by the way, because that puts us back to square one. Another good reason is that not everybody can get a vaccine. A lot of folks are, for health reasons, not able to do it. Because of that, like allergies, or simply their immune system is already compromised in this and this way, or they're getting cancer treatments. There's a ton of scenarios where you are not allowed to get a vaccine. So for their sake, all of us who are healthy enough to get it should get it, because otherwise we're gambling with their lives, not just our own. But to go all the way back to what she was saying about being a teacher and then, being coerced. First of all, I'm delighted that she's acknowledging that it's coercion if you're affecting people's jobs. Let's remember that with healthcare, but I'm not trying to be a dick right now. I see the point they're making, but that only holds up in a universe where the world revolves exclusively around you. Because your right to be a teacher is not greater than my right to be able to send my kids to a school where they're not going to be infected. And I think that's it right there. It is a matter of personal rights, but there are more people's personal rights at stake. And there's a reasonable expectation that your teacher not be spreading disease in the classroom. So there it is. And the same thing with military, same thing with any other thing where you have to be I'm not even talking about private corporations' right to not have people be vaccinated, but public institutions, their insistence that people get vaccinated, I think, is perfectly legitimate, because on the other side of that, if you look at the opposite of that claim, what is my right to be a soldier? Do I have the right to not get a disease that's going to affect my heart and lungs? I think so, which means I think that my fellow Marines, soldier, airmen, whatever you're in, should have to be, because we have to be in the same room. We have to be face to face. We have to do all these things.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
A lot of things. I mean, a lot of that seems practical thinking. You know what I mean? But I don't. I mean, that's our practical way of thinking. And most people, quite frankly. But I'll tell you what. Before I left the panel at night, a couple of them, Indy and a few of them, asked the question: okay, what if the shoe was on the other foot? What if it was the unvaccinated were the ones that was allowed to do the central work? What if the unvaccinated were the ones allowed to be at work, and the vaccinated were the ones that had to stay home if it was the other way around, right? And so
Well, what did you say?
I had to think about it. I have a more clearer answer now than I did then. But basically, I was thinking, look, that's just the way it goes if you're the minority. if you're the minority and the majority of the public thinks that this is for the public good, for everybody's best interest, then you're outnumbered. And so if it was reversed and I was a minority, I would be like you. I wouldn't like it, but I would have to comply.
I mean, where I differ in this is that they're not the same. It's not just a matter
I'm just
of
trying my best to try to like find some kind of common ground with these people. You know what
I mean? I can't praise you enough. And especially just acknowledging the fact that when you give an answer in a moment like that, you don't have time to think about it. You don't have anything. You just have to just search your feelings and give your best reason. I think that was not an answer you should feel bad about, but I have a different one. Mine is that they're not the same. It's not the same. It's not just a difference of opinion. It's a difference of function. One group of people spreads COVID very easily. Another group of people is resistant to COVID. You have a choice between which group you are in. Unless you are somebody who literally cannot get a vaccine, which they exist, you can either choose to be resistant to COVID or not. If it were reversed so that only the unvaccinated, i.e. the people who spread this deadly disease a lot, were in positions where they interact with the public a lot, I would ask, what the hell is wrong with people? I would ask, what do we not understand what the problem is? So yeah, it's because you are more dangerous to society when you are unvaccinated. And I do think you have a right to not be vaccinated if you so choose. You have a right to be dangerous to society if you want. But we also, as society, have a right to be protected from you, whoever you are. Which means not being forced to breathe the same infected air during now COVID and flu season that you have, because it could kill my family. Literally, people have lost. I mean, we lost 1 million Americans to this disease. That's why. But I can't stress enough what you said, or that when you brought us these folks, what you brought us is exactly what I've been spending a year looking for. People who we disagree with, sure, but they're not irrational, and they do care. They seem to genuinely care. Even what you were just talking about right now with, well, what if the group was reversed? That's a great way to think about problems. That helps you find out if you're being ethical or not. I'm so glad that was part of the conversation.
Yeah, oh, what else was I going to say? Yeah, and so oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, it's all good. I'm gonna go over this stuff that they sent, the other stuff as well.
Yeah, I guess Indy's acting in good faith, and stuff. I genuinely feel that some of them. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. I actually was during my live stream. I was me and Ninja Cat were having to talk about what transpired the night we were on the panel, right? And we have a friend named Juji that is always at my stream every time.
I'm familiar with their music, yeah, and them from your stream. That's where I saw them first.
Yeah, Juji, and during the discussion, Juji just made one comment that kind of stunned me. She said that it was because of the vaccine was the reason why her 9-year-old daughter got killed. And when somebody says something like that, it really stuns you. And you can't say, there's nothing I can say after that. There's nothing I can say. what am I gonna say? Oh, are you sure? Something stupid like that. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
you know. So
I mean, you have a good point. Like
these
it's
people feel like they actually have actual events happen to them that make them think otherwise.
yeah, and it's part of what makes it so sad for me is that like that one gal, I think her name was Tiger, was talking about how she was a nurse and she saw I think it was two that she said. She saw two people die from the vaccine. Let's double it to four. She saw four people die of the vaccine. Okay, that in and of itself is terrifying. Oh my god, a nurse saying she saw four people die of the vaccine. And then I asked her what uh, like what happened. Explain to me. And she said they took the vaccine and then 2 days later they were dead. And I said, okay, so you didn't see him die of the vaccine. You saw them take the vaccine and then they died. And then she said they were in a nursing home. They took the vaccine and then they died. Okay. So first of all, elderly patients. Second, or a care home. I always got it wrong during the stream. I feel bad. But elderly patients confirmed. They took the vaccine and then they passed away. I've recently been in such a home. People pass away frequently. If you're a nurse on a floor with 80 patients on it or 80 rooms on it, yeah, especially if you're during a pandemic, especially if it's a bad weekend, you could absolutely, or rather, especially if the whole facility is giving vaccines all at once. Yeah, then another way to relate that story is during vaccinations, people continued to die as normal in the facility that you were working in. But she has told herself this was the vaccine that killed them. And I witnessed the vaccine killing people, even though from the story she told us, there was not evidence of that. Nothing beyond timing. But the more you look at that story, the less actually suspicious it becomes. But she's out there saying, I witnessed this thing and I am a nurse. And so now somebody else out there says nurses are out there saying that they were watching patients dying left and right from this thing. And then somebody reports what that person reported, a rumor of a rumor, which began as a misreading of the facts, or at least drawing conclusions that you had no right to confidently draw from the facts, and affected by that extra layer of them saying this affected me personally. So you must now be very, very uncritical of the things I say. It's a pickle,
Yeah.
man. It is a pickle.
Well, and another thing, real quick, is I don't know what the heck is the. Well, I guess because it's still, but in my mind, even though a lot of people are going to disagree with me, a lot of people here are going to disagree with me, but I've been vaccinated. I've been I've had the booster shot like 3 times. Me
Sure.
personally, I've kind of moved on from the pandemic. I think we're
Yeah.
past that. You know what
We
I
have
mean?
no choice. We have to.
I think we're past that, and so I I guess the discussion is still there because people are still unvaccinated. People still refuse to get unvaccinated, and uh, you know they haven't gotten sick yet and died. I mean, my brother never got vaccinated. He didn't want to take the vax. He got sick. Um, um, he got sick. He survived it because he's healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're healthy, you're more likely to survive it. But he got really sick, and he complains of losing the sense of taste. No, long
Yeah.
COVID is there. Long COVID is a thing, and so um, but I guess it's still an issue up in the air. But to me, I'm past the pandemic. I'm not afraid of intermingling with people because I feel like I'm protected through my vaccination. Well, what's the point of getting vaccinated for? You know what I mean? I got vaccinated so that way I wouldn't have to be afraid of it anymore. So I don't have to worry about getting sick and I can go out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like I mean, case in point, it's still a disease that's out there. It does kill people, but it's a 1 in 1,000. If you're infected for various reasons, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance it's going to kill you. That's not a very high chance. It's a hell of a lot higher than the flu by many times, but it's not like AIDS is going around infecting people with coughs. So, I mean, it's for me, this conversation was useful mostly because this is an issue where I think it helps illustrate where the divide in information is happening. And I don't know that we've necessarily figured it all out, but I think I have maybe a better sense now of the kind of ways people get misled.
Yeah, keep in mind that
other video.
Keep in mind that they think we're the ones being propagandized. They think we're the ones with the misinformation. Like we're the ones susceptible to accepting whatever information they just throw in our face. You know what I mean? They think the same about us.
Yeah. And I'm happy to assume that we're both in the wrong. I'm happy to assume, but I'd love it if it turned out that none of the things I believe as a progressive are true, because goddamn, they come with a lot of obligation to do stuff, and I'm sick of doing stuff. But this was good. Thank you for finding these folks. I'll see you, buddy.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jake. Bye-bye.
Bye. It was Donald James X helping me figure out what the hell is going on with the rest of our country. I do want to look at the rest of these videos. I intend to at some point. But I would like to focus the response. Indy, if you're watching all this, come talk to me. I would like to find out, what did I not see here that you wanted me to see? What did I miss? And what did I misinterpret? That's entirely possible as well. Want to also say to the gang watching, I require 300 patrons for this show to be financed. I require 300. I have 5. We're getting there. But in this era where the grooviest of broadcasters are being taken off the air just for being handsome, I need to have a means to fund myself that is not directly tied to where my videos are stored. That's Patreon. So do consider supporting the show. If you enjoy this content, if you think that I make anything that could be of use, consider paying just $5 a month. That's a cup of coffee in the douchier towns. $5 a month. Please be one of the 300 who holds the line. My friends, this has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for what you can do. And just because I'm proud of the editing job, I'm playing the conspiracy outro.